galera, é o seguinte, eu tive a oportunidade de ir lá em Los Angeles assistir o filme do Mortal Kombat 2 antecipadamente e falar com o elenco do filme, com o Carl Urban, com a rapaziada toda lá. Foram entrevistas muito curtinhas, que foi o tempo que a gente esteve lá, mas fique aí com que a gente conversou com eles sobre o Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh! Eu não tô confortável de bater em mulher.
Fica tranquilo. Você não vai.
Carl, what was your challenge bringing Johnny Cage into life here in the movie?
I think this was a challenge on so many levels for me. Probably the biggest challenge of my career to date, I would have to say. Just diving deep into the lore and the mythology of the character, much loved fan character, and then also coming up to speed with the skill set. You know, I'm coming into a movie with a whole lot of martial artists who are very, very good at what they do. So for me, it was a steep learning curve, but I was blessed that I had a great stunt fighting team and a lot of great support from the cast.
In the games, Jade and Kitana are really close friends, and this is really important for a whole story. How was it for you both play these characters in this situation?
Oh, it was so wonderful. I mean, we've been friends for so long, and we've worked together, and yeah, to have that foundation to bring into this movie was a gift.
Yeah, like I don't think that you could ask for anything better in that way. Like it's like we had love and trust already built in, and then we just got to find the nuance in that and find who these characters are in their friendship. Like. Yeah.
Liu Kang's like one of the most important characters in all Mortal Kombat history. How was him in the second movie now, bringing him to life again?
It was great. I think he's just stepped up even more into, you know, his kind of presence like he is in the video games, because I think Mortal Kombat's an evolution. There's always been these 5 or 6 characters that's throughout every single game, throughout the canon, and we're kind of preserving that for the movies too, but we're watching their journey from beginning to, you know, the inevitable end.
Shao Kahn's one of my favorite characters in the Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero as well, yeah. And I want to know, what do you think that makes Shao Kahn intimidating beyond the strength and the power?
Probably the mystique behind him and the unknown. The unknown of Shao, combined with his power and his movement and his strength, creates a dangerous prospect.
What do you think was more important, bringing the Sub-Zero from the games to life here in Mortal Kombat 2?
No Sub-Zero, no Mortal Kombat. We both know for sure, right? They can Sub-Zero and Scorpion. They're kind of like very iconic characters. You just put 2 of them on the poster. We both know that's Mortal Kombat. So I think identity-wise, Sub-Zero needs to be in the film. I think otherwise the fans gonna go crazy. But Shao Kahn also equally important. Yeah, because he's my.
You can have me wait.
É uma guerra pelo destino do seu mundo.
Helena, you play Kitana, right? And it is one of the fan favorites of all time in Mortal Kombat. And she has a really peculiar weapon, right? The fan. How was for you to work with the fan and all this trouble? Because it is a really different weapon.
Yes, but I really loved my fans. I felt like they were really, in some ways, natural to handle for me. So after learning the fight choreography, incorporating the fans during that, but also in our fight sequences, felt really effortless and seamless. I really loved all of my fans and had a lot of different versions of them, and I loved all of them. Yeah.
For Jade, what was the hardest part to bring the fighting style of Jade to life?
For me, like I had experience, I'm a black belt in karate and I have experienced working with the bow staff, but Japanese style bow staff versus Chinese style bow staff, which is in a lot of ways a lot tighter moves, quicker. I also had one of the versions of my bow was very heavy, so that was a challenge for me to work through, but mostly just unlearning what I already knew to relearn something else. That was, the biggest challenge for me with Jade's weapon.
Kano and Johnny, they are 2 characters. Mortal Kombat is really violent, right? Yeah. It is really brutal, but it is really funny in so many levels. Yeah. And how do you think that Kano balanced this brutality and this funny stuff in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, you're right in that there's clearly a sense of humor to the game. You know, they've always had that, and that, so to have a Mortal Kombat without that humor just doesn't feel right. I think for Kano, part of what makes him funny in the world of the film, that he's sort of commenting on the absurdity as well. And I think Johnny similarly does the same thing as he comes into this new world, and just it's sort of a human reaction to an inhuman world. And I think that's where the comedy sort of lies, a
definitely.
bit.
I think it would be a mistake to play it any other way, where you take it for granted the fact that you're seeing like a Baraka, for example, who's a giant monster, and not to just like take a beat to acknowledge that. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, we didn't have a lot of the comedy.
No, but I will say there were some funny moments trying to we had some me and Martin had a moment when we were doing our fights where I couldn't get his helmet off, and we were laughing the whole time, and it's probably one of the more brutal moments in the film. But yeah, I think it was...
I guess too, same thing. You made me think of when I did my fight with Makad, not laughing at certain ad-libs that he would throw in there.
Yes. Same with Carl when I did Johnny Cage. I mean, he's so funny. I was like, stop it. Stop making me laugh. Yeah.
So I think with I don't know, just making them both true, I think what makes something funny is its honesty, and then what makes something brutal is its honesty. So when you that's where they meet at the middle ground.
Yeah. So Sonia and Jax are really close friends, and they are really important to each other in the movie. How was for you both to work together and bring that to the movie?
We are family.
We had a really good time.
Yeah.
We didn't get a whole lot to do together the first time around because he was missing in the film, and we didn't know what had happened to him. So we really didn't have a lot to do with each other. You were kind of, and then this time we got to actually explore our friendship in the film and have some fun moments together. And I know I fought to have a kind of a certain kind of language and lightness between us in this movie. Friends. Because they just know each other, they're family, So I think the way that Sonia acts and behaves around Jax is different to everyone else.
Right.
And I wanted to show that as much as I could.
O clã terreno pertence a mim.
How was for you to prepare physically for this movie, the fights and all the stuff? I guess that should be a challenge.
Oh man! So the first movie, I gained 35 pounds.
Wow.
I'm a psychopath, and I started working out twice a day after my audition. I was like, I got this role. And I didn't find out for months. And I was like, I hope I'm not working out for no reason. And then I got the word that I got the role. I was like, oh, thank God. And I literally gained 35 pounds. And I had to learn how to do army boxing, which is something I'd never even heard of at the time. And I didn't come from a fight background. So there was a moment there where I didn't even know if I belonged in the movie. Because I just couldn't, I was like 5% away of just getting everything right. And then once I broke past that barrier, it was mostly psychological. It almost became second nature for me. And it was easy to align my devotion with my desire and put those two things together. And then as long as you desire to be the best at what you're doing and you devote the time and the patience and the grace to yourself, then you can achieve that.
We were set up for success in that when we arrived to set, we had a month of stunt training every single day, a month. A month in advance. We would train every day and just drill in our sequences. But also on top of that, after set or in between moments, we would go to the gym and practice our sequences more and more and more and do.
And we even had for the first month we had a trainer as well, like a person, like a gym personal trainer, to just work certain muscles too that we wouldn't normally have used without these weapons and things. So that was also really cool.
For me, there was a hell of a lot of footwork drills, movement, mobility work, flexibility. I'd just come off the back of a gladiator show that I was doing, so physically I was kind of there, to be honest, which helped me a lot, helped me a hell of a lot. Trying to hold size was difficult. One, being away from home, food being difficult, and the access to the gyms that you normally train at was not the same. But more so than that was the intensity of the shoot, the set, the prosthetics, the amount of weight we'd be losing every day we were in work. That was difficult. That was hard. So it was a challenge to try and keep the shape and the size throughout the 3 months of filming, especially with the preparation each day being so intense and so long, the shoots being so long. So that was probably the most difficult part for me.
I think prep-wise, most of the time, cardio is the most important thing, because in a screen fight, usually it's not really about how hard you punch, but how far and how long can you go. So you got to do a lot of long takes. It means that you have to have great endurance.
100%.
So cardio usually
it's never a first take.
Yeah, before I jumped to the location, usually 3 months prior, just cardio like crazy. And especially like the Mortal Kombat, we're not really fighting like, like normal outfit. We're fighting with at least like 7Ks, attached on us, right? So it means like our endurance is more important.
Yeah. And also being ready as well. Being ready is an important aspect.
Mentally.
But being ready to film, because you can be sat in a chair like this for an hour and then all of a sudden in 4 or 5 minutes you've got to be doing high intensity workout, and then you go hot, cold, and it's keeping the body able to perform 5 or 6 times a day rather than just once. That's an important part.
Was a very challenging.
Yeah.
Very challenging. True.
Oh, as I said before, it was an immense challenge. Not only like physically to have to be in great shape, we went through a training regime for 3 to 4 months. That was like, learning how to be more agile and improve reactions, learning movement, like really starting with the basics. And it was a hell of a jump.
What do you bring different in the games to Johnny Cage into life in the movie?
Well, I think that's part and parcel of the way that it was written. Like in the games, Johnny Cage is very egocentric and larger than life, and in the movies, the way that Jeremy Slater, our writer, wrote Johnny Cage, at the point we find him, he's very dispirited. He's no confidence, and he's neglected his martial arts training, and it's this very juncture that Sonya and Raiden ask him to become part of Mortal Kombat and defend the Earth. And I just thought that was like genius writing, because that gives the character and the audience somewhere to go.
Yeah, great. No, that's it.
Thank you.
Love it. Thanks, man.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.